Good evening and welcome to the battle for Chennai. I'm Sanjay Pinto. The people of our city have spoken, or should I say, less than half have chosen to do that. The Greater Chennai turf, with 4,800 polling booths, with 200 wards, witnessed a low voter turnout, as low as 48%. That's just about 22 lakh people. That's much less than the assembly poll just 6 months ago, and much less than even the last civic body election in 2006. This election had its share of violence and complaints from the opposition. As Saidai Doraiswamy from the ruling AIADMK took on M. Subramaniam of the DMK, it was a straight face-off between the two arch-Dravidian rivals, this time without any baggage, no allies on both sides. A litmus test for Amma's 5-month rule and a report card of sorts for the DMK's local administration over the last 5 years. Yes, there were other dark horses and independents who just may have probably eaten into the extended electoral vote pie. From 6 o'clock this morning, our reporters and camera teams have been keeping a hawk eye on the polling booths across the city, tracking the main contenders, the big political leaders, the violence, the complaints and the voter turnout. Our team is still on the job and they join me live tonight. Pratiksha Ramkumar, Salim and Krishnamurthy. Also joining me live tonight is a man who hopes to occupy that top seat in Ripon building very soon, Saidai Doraiswamy, and a prominent Chennaiite, environmentalist and historian Nandita Krishna, to give you a residence wish list. But first, it's over to my colleague Dipti Kumar for the headlines. Dipti?
Well, thanks, Sanjay. A lot that's packed into the bulletin this evening. First, let's take a look at what's making headlines in the city. A fierce face-off between the two arch-rivals minus allies for the Chennai Corporation.
We are confident that the people will give us their overwhelming support once again in the local body elections.
The DMK, PMK and DMDK cry foul. They say there were no video cameras at most booths and just a handful of cops on duty. From Greaves Road to North Chennai, reports of violence at polling booths trickle in. A low polling percentage marks the civic body elections in the city. Was it due to an extended weekend or low anti-incumbency or sporadic reports of violence? Confidence was the mantra cutting across party lines. We caught up with the main contenders.
Sir, நீங்க எவ்வளவு கான்ஃபிடென்ட்டா இருக்கீங்க இன்னைக்கு ஜெயிக்கிறதுக்கு?
100%
யார் அவங்க வீட்டு வாசல்ல இருக்கிற குப்பை எடுப்பாங்க, யார் அவங்க வீட்டு வாசல்ல இருக்கிற கால்வா அடைப்பு எடுப்பாங்க, அதை நினைச்சு நடத்துற தேர்தல். அதனால ஏற்கனவே 5 ஆண்டு காலம் அதை ப்ரூவ் பண்ணிக்கிறோம். நிச்சயமா திமுகவுக்கு வாக்களிப்பார்.
And even as protesters temporarily suspend their strike at Kundukolam for the civic polls, the opposition says the government may crack the whip after the election. An NDTV Hindu campaign throws up more Good Samaritans who offer financial aid for baby Ganesha's medical treatment. And let's take a look at what's making news on the national front on the top headlines. Pro-Telangana candidate wins by-poll in Andhra Pradesh. The BJP Shiv Sena shuts out the Congress in Maharashtra. The Supreme Court issues a notice to Anna Hazare, the Maharashtra government and CBI on a petition and seeks a probe into mismanagement of funds. B.S. Yediyurappa will approach the High Court for bail after he was arrested for corruption. And from sports, the English set a 237 target for Team India to meet in order to win the second ODI in Delhi. Well, first up this evening with that high voltage campaign, you would have imagined that Chennai would have witnessed a high voter turnout. But it was way below that of the assembly elections just 5 months ago. The result on Friday will be interesting because both the Dravidian majors have tested their individual strength without their allies. For the AIADMK, this election will help them feel the pulse of the people after its 5-month rule. Pratiksha Ramkumar tells us why Amma looked the way she did as she cast her vote. Calm, composed and confident.
Will the AIADMK's match winner do an encore? Not long ago, Chennai was seen as the bastion of the DMK. But the recent assembly election turned that theory on its head. Amma's alliance had notched up 14 out of the 16 seats. It's that momentum, together with a slew of welfare schemes, that explains this confidence.
We have initiated many welfare schemes for the public. We have fulfilled our promises to the people. Therefore, we are confident that the people will give us their overwhelming support once again in the local body elections.
And the man who runs a free coaching institute for IAS aspirants exuded a double dose of confidence. Voting for the ruling party as its undeniable advantage has been his take.
சார் நீங்க எவ்வளவு கான்ஃபிடென்ட்டா இருக்கீங்க இன்னைக்கு ஜெயிக்கிறதுக்கு?
100%
The DMK's candidate M. Subramaniam is no pushover for the top job at Ripon Building. And his party pulled out all stops during its campaign. But minutes after polling began, came a torrent of complaints. And the blame game is all over again.
திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழக வேட்பாளர் கேட்டதற்கு தான் வெப் கேமராக்கள் பொருத்தப்பட்டது. ஆனா அது நிறைய இடங்களை இயங்கல அப்படினு சொல்றாங்க. அத பத்தி நீங்க என்ன சொல்றீங்க?
அரசே சரியாக இயங்கவில்லை. கேமரா இயங்காது.
இன்று பெரும்பகுதியான வாக்குச்சாவடிகளில் வீடியோவோ வெப் கேமராவோ வைக்கப்படவில்லை என்பது ஒரு வருத்தத்திற்குரிய விஷயம்.
For the AIADMK, it could be an interim report card from the people in response to its welfare schemes. For the DMK, it's still smarting under its defeat in the assembly election, and faced with a spate of land-grabbing charges, it could be an indication of any possible sympathy or the lack of it. While the voter turnout may have been a bit of a disappointment compared to the state assembly polls, reading what's on the voters' mind is not easy.
I think it makes sense to vote for the party in power. I'm sure there are funds allocation, distribution issues. So if there are other parties involved, I'm not sure how smooth it's going to happen.
We believe change is required, so I voted for this person who I think will bring the change.
இந்த எலெக்ஷனை பொறுத்தவரையிலும் மாற்றங்கிறது முக்கியம் கிடையாது. யார் நல்லதை செய்தாங்களோ அவங்களுக்கு ஓட்டு போறது தான் முக்கியம். நாங்க நல்லதை செய்தவங்களுக்கு ஓட்டு போட்டுருக்கோம்.
While a low voter turnout usually means an advantage to the incumbent party, with 30 other candidates and no clear trend seen among the voters, the counting day is expected to be a clear pot boiler for not just the political parties, but for the electorate too. In Chennai, with camera person Madan, Pratiksha Ramkumar for NDTV Hindu.
And Pratiksha Ramkumar joins us. She's been out on the streets of Chennai from 6 in the morning, but still looking fresh as ever. Pratiksha, thank you very much for all the energy and for the effort to bring our viewers up to speed with all that's been happening, every little twist and turn in the civic body election. Pratiksha, first off, this debate about the ruling party and of course having a mayor from the ruling party would be advantageous. How are voters, or how have voters actually taken this argument?
Sanjay, it is mainly because of a lot of experience that they have in the past. First of all, a lot of people, residents who we met over the campaign itself, had told us some very terrible stories of having the MLA not from the ruling party, where so many complaints did not get taken up, so many works did not get completed. In fact, some residents of T Nagar were actually telling me stories about how even some roads did not get repaired after constant complaints to the MLA and the corporation, because both the organizations could not work together. And they also recollected incidents of how, sometimes when Stalin was the mayor during the AIDMK regime, that did not work out too well. So basically it was, I think, a lot of past experiences in their mind which really makes them go towards this trend. And it was taken on full, the Saida Durasamy really took full advantage of that fact. But that is a huge factor, Sanjay, where people feel that it may not work, especially because of fund allocations, and because for every small development work, even for a road repair or even for a drainage system, you work with so many different departments. So they do definitely feel that if the mayor is from the ruling party, it is likely that all the IAS officers surrounding him will tend to follow his orders.
All right, interesting there. Pratiksha, now again the fact that both the Dravidian majors have chosen to play solidarity reapers in this case, jettisoning their allies in a sense, contesting on the strength of their own merit here. Do you see this, in fact, the results of this actually spurring them on to do the same thing in 2014 for the Lok Sabha poll as well? Does it mean that single party rule is probably here to stay, and does it sound in a sense the death knell of coalition politics in Tamil Nadu?